Hello everyone, it's Kelly here from Spiritual Awakening Signs. I'm coming to you from the Scottish Highlands, so I'm hoping that the internet connection is going to hold out for me because I'm in a really rural area for the Christmas period right now. It's lovely and calm and peaceful, which kind of leads me on to the whole article that we're doing today. So first of all, if you don't know me, my name is Kelly and I help people like you who are going through the awakening process or on that spiritual pathway to manage your symptoms and make the awakening process just that little bit easier. And that's really what today's video is all about. We're starting with stress, and it's a good time to start with dealing with stress because Christmas time is an incredibly stressful time, full of pressures, tensions and strains, and I think it's important for us to really look at what is the root cause of your stress. Well, I'm going to go into that a little bit today. I'm also going to give you some insight into what our collective guides who I've been working with this week have actually shown me really powerful realizations about the wound that exists in all of us that's really driving that stress in our life and how we can start to release that. So we're going to get started with that now. Thank you for joining the video. If you're watching live or even if you're watching the replay, please feel free to say hello, tell me who you are and where you're from, and also let me know if you have any questions about what we're covering today. So let's start by first of all investigating the key question: why am I stressed? That's the question that we're all really asking ourselves. It's the thing that keeps us up at night. It's the thing that makes us wonder, how did we get to where we are? And unfortunately, it's a real epidemic nowadays. Stress has become this natural part of everyday life, but it's not natural to feel the levels of stress that we go through all the time, the endurance that we're having to put forward just to get through and just to get by. So it seems as if it belongs in part of normal daily life, but it really doesn't. And we can fool ourselves into thinking that, you know, it's because of this other person, it's because so-and-so didn't do this or that, it's because of I've got too much to do, or whatever it is we're telling ourselves. And these are all understandable and valid sources of stress as we might perceive them. But that's only if you only want to look a certain level of depth. If you want to go a little bit deeper, that's what we're going to be doing in this video today, to really take a look at what's the source, what is the root cause of your stress. Because it's not just about what you think other people are doing or, you know, how much you think you're taking on. There is a driver there that is keeping that going all the time and also becoming your point of attraction to draw the stress to you. So we really need to look at digging a little bit deeper and finding out what's really causing the stress. So I know for me, I've asked that question many times. I've sat down exhausted from the pressures of the day and convinced myself that if only he didn't do this or she didn't do that or this hadn't happened, I wouldn't be stressed. And that's not entirely true, because I know myself, I'm a very sensitive, empathic person. I'm also a natural worrywart, and it's normal for people like us, particularly throughout the awakening process, to get stressed by the things that come up, because it's really tough. It's really, really tough. So it's understandable that these things come up, but what tends to happen with us as empaths and sensitives is that we feel that we have a tank of a certain amount of energy and vitality in a day. And as we go through our day, we tend to end up feeling like everyone's stealing a little bit of our energy. Everyone else is stealing a little bit of our light, and that there's nothing we can do to keep that energy and to hold that connection to source, to hold that connection to the ascended part of ourselves that is ever calm and stable and strong and centered. And we can start to feel resentful, maybe even bitter, because it feels as though everyone else has got the power and the control to snatch that away from us and steal it. And that's not always entirely the case. Sometimes there are other things at play, and that's really what we're going to be looking at right now. So I wanted to also tell you a little bit about the powerful lesson that I gained from our collective guides this week. So they are a collection of ascended souls who are absolutely dedicated to helping us on our awakening pathway, making it easier and helping us get to where we need to get to in order to fulfill our purpose and to be happy, because it's not easy to go through the awakening process. So it's that collection of guides that I'm using when I'm doing any of the healing meditations, And just so that you know, they are your guides too. This collection of guides, whether you are consciously aware of them or not, have told me categorically they are here for everyone on the awakening pathway, and they are assisting you in your life right now. The fact that you're even connecting to these meditations or the content that I put out means that you are connected to them. So I was working with the guides and I was recording this month's meditation, which was all about stress, and we'll get back to that in a moment. It's all about stress. It's all about releasing stress from the body, really de-stressing the mind, and also just finding a way to boost your self-esteem. So I was working on all of that. And what they started to share with me was that there is a real key as to why we're so stressed in the first place. And it provided a really, really powerful shift to the wounding that we've got. And they showed me that we have this wounding through our current life, all of our past lives, and through the genes on our mother and father's family line. So this extends back a really far distance. So what they were really showing me is that we can heal this on all levels of our being, and that we really need to do that to be able to move out of this wounding and into a place of being calm, centered and de-stressed. So what we need to do is talk about the wounding. So you're probably a bit of a stressed person. I am too. I'm sensitive, I'm intuitive, I'm an empath. I'm sure that you are too. So particularly on the awakening pathway, we have a real rough time manoeuvring through all the different shifts and the chaos of all the intense emotions of just normal everyday life, because it's not normal to us. It's really uncomfortable. We're not really built for this type of environment, and it's tough for us to stay in alignment, like I said before, with that centered part of ourselves, that ascended part of ourselves. It's really difficult to stay in alignment with that when you're in amongst such a stressful surrounding, such a stressful environment. So it can feel almost impossible to access that part of yourself, and like I said, it can leave you feeling really resentful. But what I will say is, if you're feeling that way, if you're feeling bitter, if you're feeling resentful, if you're feeling angry that people seem to keep taking that energy from you, what I want to let you know is you're not a bad person. They are normal human emotions to have when you feel that you're being taken advantage of, or you feel that things are being taken away from you. But if you can apply some of the things that we're going to be talking about in this video, those feelings won't be there for too long. Okay, so don't beat up on yourself. It's natural to feel annoyed or upset when something like that happens. So, like I said, I was working on clearing stress with the guides, and they were leading me through releasing the pent-up stress throughout the physical body, and then we started working on releasing the stress through each of the chakras. So we were working down, and as I approached the solar plexus chakra, they showed me a really important energy that they wanted all of us to have, and it was the energy of I am worthy. I am worthy. And I started to channel this energy in throughout the recording, bringing it in, and it was this beautiful golden yellow light. I could see it coming right down, moving into the solar plexus of everyone for the meditation, everyone who ever will do the meditation. And I said to the guides, as I usually do internally, okay, what's next? And they said, no, wait, you don't realise how powerful this download actually is. You don't realise it, and they kind of ushered me to slow down. It was like, slow down and wait a moment. I was like, okay. And then what started to happen was that they sent this energy of I am worthy through our current life. Okay, so who you are now and the wound that you have that makes you feel inferior, makes you feel not good enough, makes you feel like you're not trying hard enough, not doing enough. They sent it through the current version of us. Then they sent it back through all of the past lives of all of the people that we've ever been. So I could see this almost like a timeline for each person, sending it back through every lifetime that you've lived, where this wound has consistently shown up lifetime after lifetime. And that's what happens. These experiences are created sometimes in a past life. Something happens, we internalize the belief, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, and it's so deeply wounding that we carry it lifetime after lifetime. It comes into the next life, something happens, bang, same thing again, I'm not worthy. And then the next life, something else happens, bang, I'm not worthy. And it's like this kind of self-fulfilling prophecy that keeps cycling round, looking to be resolved, looking to be healed. So that was powerful enough. It was like, wow, we've had healing for current life, we've had healing for all the past lives where that's happened. Then they took it one step further and they sent this energy of being worthy and healing that unworthiness wound through our genetic line. So they were sending it back for everyone through your mother's genetic line, all the ancestors on that side, and then your father's genetic line, all the ancestors on that side too. It was incredibly powerful. And what it showed me was that sometimes with these wounds, what happens is an ancestor of our genetic family line has an experience, much like us in our past lives, where something happens and they have a traumatic experience or something really upsetting and they internalize, I'm not good enough. And it creates this energy imprint that actually gets sent down through the family line. So much like we pass on literal DNA to the next generation, we actually pass on energies, we pass on belief systems, and we pass on emotions, trauma. We carry all this in the cells of our bodies. So it's getting passed down from generation to generation. So with them sending the healing through that on both the mother and the father's sides, it's taken it right back to the point where it could have been created, sending healing for all the souls involved and really bringing us to such a holistic healing that it was on all levels of being, and all the levels that I would usually work with if I was working one-on-one with someone. It was really unexpected. It was absolutely incredible. So I could see how it was really needed to heal that inner wound, and I'm going to explain a bit more about how that's all connected to help you understand why this is so important. So it made sense to me that unworthiness is such a huge factor in the way that we internalize stress, and I could see how this core wound permeates everything we do and the things we take on, and most importantly the pressure that we put on ourselves to get everything right, to do everything, to achieve everything, to be everything that we think that we're not. So what I would like to ask you is this question of how much are you currently taking on, doing or helping with that somewhere deep down in you it's coming from compensating because you don't think that you're actually enough, you don't think that you're good enough. You need to really start to question that and look at what are these drivers that are playing out in your life. So I'd like you to ask yourself this will help you understand if this is really an issue for you, which by the way it is for almost all of us. So how much of your stress is coming from rescuing, saving or bailing other people out? How much of your stress is coming from obligating yourself to serve everyone around you, even when you know they could probably do it for themselves? They don't need your help, they can do it themselves, but you obligate yourself. You feel like you should. How much of your stress is coming from endlessly giving more to others when you don't actually have anything left? Or endlessly giving more to others who don't reciprocate the effort that you're giving out? How much of your stress comes from doing everything that needs to be done without asking for help, without delegating, to the point that you are completely and utterly burnt out? How much of your stress comes from taking care of everyone else but never taking care of yourself? So you need to look for that pattern. Is that something that you recognise in yourself? Tell me in the comments. Do you recognise these traits in yourself? Because they're really common for empathic people. It's almost, a blueprint for an empathic person that we tend to get taken advantage of because we feel deep down that we are not enough, and we spend our lives compensating, giving more, having to prove ourselves, having to save everyone, having to help everyone, and it's a massive undertaking that we can never really fulfill. It's incredibly stressful. So looking that a little bit deeper, hopefully you can see that all of these things just come from not feeling good enough. And it sounds so simple and it permeates everything that you do, but it's a wound, it is a pain, and it's something that's been inflicted that we carry with us. And it could have come from a lot of different areas, and I'm going to go into those areas in a moment. But we do get caught in this endless cycle of constantly compensating for that lack that we perceive is inside of us. We're constantly working overtime to prove that we're enough. No wonder we're exhausted. That's absolutely exhausting. And we're trying to fill that gap inside of ourselves because we feel that we're missing something, and we perceive that everyone else has got it, but we don't. We're missing something. We're less than. So we think that if we can just do more, give more, fix more, be more, that we're going to fix that deficit inside of us, and that we'll finally feel validated by other people with appreciation and them acknowledging our efforts, but it won't. And what I'd really invite you to look at is, if you've been doing these patterns most of your life, which you probably have, is it filling the void? I'll bet that it isn't. And every time it's just, you need to do more, you need to do more, you need to do more. Has doing more before ever filled the void? Probably not. And I know that from experience, because I'm empathic too, and those same things happen to me and still sometimes happen to me. If you're not careful that those little aspects are rising up again, you need to look out for them. So they come from a few different levels, these issues. So where does this worthiness, lack of worthiness wound really come from? Well, they're found generally on 3 main levels of your being. So the first one is your current life. So I'm not worthy has probably come from early interactions with your primary caregivers, your parents, your teachers, the people who were close to you. And maybe they didn't treat you the way they should have treated you. Maybe they neglected you. Maybe they were good in some areas, and other areas they were kind of lacking. And what's happened is that self-worth has never really developed in us to begin with. So when you've been through that experience, you kind of grow up at a disadvantage, because the deep sense of worth and value that should be there, that should have been reflected to you through your primary caregivers, just wasn't there. So you grow up, whether you really consciously understood it mentally or not, you have seen that there was a certain level of something that was needed and it wasn't met. And when your needs aren't met, you grow up feeling like you're not worthy, you're not good enough. So you might even find that there is an aspect of your childhood or something from your past that you actually remember internalizing, or something happened where suddenly it clicked and you thought, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I don't deserve. All these things along that line that make you feel inferior. That's where the healing lies. So you need to look for these things in your history. So the next level where these wounds can come from, and they can come from any of these levels, or you might have them on all levels, in which case you need a bit more healing and gentleness. So another area where those issues can come from is past lives. So this I'm not worthy belief can be created from a traumatic or upsetting experience that you've had in a past life. And in that case, it's probably become a theme. So what happens is, we have a stressful experience, we create a belief like, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, from whatever's going on. And just for the record, that can be a faulty belief. That can just be our perception, much like we don't always see the truth. We don't always make the right assumptions about what's going on. And that faulty belief becomes an imprint in the soul. It's like a gaping wound. And it follows you lifetime after lifetime, because it's seeking to be resolved. It's seeking to be healed. So what you really need to look at is, in order to heal and resolve that, you need to look for the cause of it. So you might have a sense that happened to you. You might even have a memory. You might even have little snippets of a memory. You might remember the whole thing. That happens often in awakening. These things come to the surface to be realised. And the other level where these wounds originate is your genetic line. So like I said before, this I'm not worthy belief could have been created generations ago, when an ancestor of yours went through similarly like the past lives, a traumatic or upsetting experience. And that could be on your mother or your father's line, or both, which is a double whammy of this energy, and you're really going to be predisposed to it then. And it means that someone in your ancestral line came to that assumption about themselves. Again, it could have been faulty, doesn't mean it was true, but they took that on and they believed that about themselves, and it's energetically been passed down like a genetic template. We pass these energies down, and it's in the DNA, and it gets sent down, generation after generation and down to you, and then you pass that on to your future generations, your children and beyond. So healing this can literally re-imprint the energy from every ancestor that you've had right back. So healing all of those souls, and it can also change the energy for you in this current moment and all your future genetic line as well. So it's really, really important that you are able to heal this. So let's talk about how you can actually heal this wound. So you can begin by really starting to search those areas and bringing to light the emotions, the feelings and the thoughts that are actually connected to it. You need to acknowledge the hurt and the pain that this belief causes, that it has caused, and you need to release that pain in order to be able to heal. So you can soul search, you can visit an energy healing practitioner to help you locate it, to help you uproot it, resolve it, and clear the belief, or you can do it yourself by using this month's meditation. It's called the stress versus worthiness dichotomy, and it actively heals and resolves each of the areas of wounding. So those 3 different key areas that we were talking about: current life with your childhood, past lives, and genetic line as well. And you can repeat the meditation anytime you feel stressed and you want to relax the body. You can also repeat it anytime you start to feel inferior or not good enough, and it's just going to keep working to all those underlying layers. So you won't need to keep going back to healers. You can just repeat the meditation, and the guides will work specifically with you, tailoring the energy to you, and they'll start to work through wherever that energy lies: past life, current life, or genetic line. They're going to do that work for you. It's a fantastic meditation. It's the longest meditation that we've ever done. It's 30 minutes long. So it's a really deep relaxation and powerful healing. And they're working on those layers really gently, really easily, and holistically, every aspect and area of you. So I'm going to open up for some questions. I will answer some comments. So if there's anything you want to ask about, feel free to pop it in the comments box, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the meditation just so that you know. So the stress versus worthiness dichotomy is our energy healing meditation, and it's specifically created at this stressful time of year to relax your body, to de-stress your mind, and to heal unworthiness, to boost that self-esteem and bring you that golden light to the solar plexus that says, I am worthy, I deserve good things. And that's going to help you to stop these patterns of overexerting yourself all the time, depleting yourself, overwhelming yourself unnecessarily. Doesn't mean that you'll never help anyone ever again, but it's about knowing your self-worth enough that you're not taking things on out of compensating, because that is unhealthy. We're starting to really change those things up. So it's going to help you to release stress, pressure, tension from your physical body, your energy body, and the auric field. So we're working on 3 different levels there. It's going to ground your body and each chakra, anchoring you to Gaia. So it's a very grounding meditation. It's going to help you to let go of unnecessary rescuing. I know you all do it because I did it too, sometimes still do. So you're going to let go of unnecessary rescuing, overcompensating, and depleting yourself for others unnecessarily. It's going to help you to feel and accept that you are worthy and that you always have been. And it's going to help you to heal unworthiness wounds in you, in your genetic line, in your past lives, all of yourselves, for the most comprehensive healing and the longest healing session that we've ever provided. As I say, it's 30 minutes long. So it's pretty big. It's the biggest one that we've done, and I'm really excited about it. So if you haven't seen any of our energy healing meditations before, I'll tell you what it is. It's a bit like a cross between an intuitive energy healing session and a relaxed guided meditation. So it's a good cross between the two. It's an energy healing session channeled directly from our collective guides, like I told you about them before. They are high vibrational guides dedicated to assisting us on the awakening pathway, and they grant me this energy and channel it through. I bring it through to you, and then they start working with you, specifically tailoring the energy to your needs so that it's safe, so that it's effective, and so that it's appropriate for the levels that you need. This is different from anything else you can get. They are working with you one-on-one through these meditations. It's a pre-recorded video full of healing, clearing, and energetic adjustments, and it's a calm and relaxing meditation that is completed in around 30 minutes. It's our longest energy healing yet, and it doesn't matter where you are, how far away you are, when you watch it, those guides just come straight into action and start working one-on-one with you. So I will put the link in the comments box, and you can have a look at it and see if it feels like a fit for you. If you have any questions about it, now is the time to ask. I'm going to have a wee look at any comments that we've got. So let's see. Zoe says, we go home and lock ourselves in a house that we paid for to watch television and worry about everything out of our control. You are absolutely right, Zoe. That's what we all do. She says, thank you for this. Thank you for spreading out. No problem. I'm really glad to share this at this time of year, because I think the pressure gets to a lot of us at Christmas, and it can be a really difficult time of year. we're trying to keep up with a lot of different things. But you're right, we actually really lose sight of what's important, and that is awakened thinking. So that's fantastic. Okay, Monica says, it seems those feelings are more prevalent during the holidays and at the end of the year. I think they are. I think that they really are, and I think that the whole year builds to this pressured kind of end where there's so much to do and so many expectations expected of us that it becomes too much. You need to pare it back, and you need to know that you are worthy of stepping back and taking care of your own responsibilities and helping where it's appropriate and where you really genuinely want to help out of giving and not out of obligation. That's what we're really trying to do. And Monica says, I'm trying to stop rescuing everyone. Very difficult, Monica. Stepping back is definitely hard in the beginning. It is. And what I want to let everyone know is when you start to step back, people aren't going to like it. And I don't say this to worry you, I say this to prepare you. Because when you start putting these boundaries in place and you know your self-worth, and suddenly you're maybe saying no where you would have said yes before, or suddenly there's like a change to your behaviour in the way that you're conducting things, even if it's perfectly reasonable, people won't like it. Now, it doesn't mean that they're bad people, it just means that they don't understand the change that this is making. So you can talk to them about it, you can let them know, listen, I'm taking on a bit too much, so I'm going to make some changes. I still really love you, I still really care about you, and you're still important to me. That usually goes a long way, but you need to give people the time to catch up. So there's a lot of kind of meme culture now where it's like, oh, if someone doesn't get on board, just cut them off. That's not necessarily the case. What we're saying is it's about making healthy changes for you and putting some boundaries in place. And sometimes people kind of kick against the change in that because it's uncomfortable for everyone involved. So use your compassion to be gentle and understand. It might take them a little while and they might kind of kick against it a little bit until you find that balance, and it will settle out. It will balance. And Monica also says they think that you're mad at them and they're shocked at the no answer. They will be. It's challenging to do it first, but just give people the time to and I suppose have some faith in them that they'll catch up, because usually they will. Most people, after they've had time to settle with things and reflect on things, change the way they feel about it. So allow that new balance to come into play. Know that it will be a little bit bumpy as you put those boundaries in place, but that it can happen. So I think that's us all sorted for today. If you are watching this on the replay, feel free to post any comments. I'm still here and I'm happy to answer. And check out our new meditation, the stress versus worthiness dichotomy, where we're healing all these things through all of your past lives, your current life, and your genetic line. It's a seriously big healing. Get that wound healed and move into the new year with a better energy, a healthier energy. I will link it in the comments below and you can take a little look. And thank you so much for joining us. Have a great Christmas.